Yes, okay. Well, good morning, everybody. If you could please stand and let's sing together. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. One more. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Good morning. Great song to start with this morning, so enter, rejoice, and come in. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane, where we join together to create a nourishing liberal religious home and to champion justice, diversity, and environmental stewardship in our wider world. Or as we say in short, to create community, find meaning, and work for justice. I want to welcome each of you, as we always do each Sunday, by embracing all that you come with, all of your uniqueness, your unique beliefs, your background, your lifestyle, your experiences, your differences. All that helps make you who you are is welcome here this morning. So welcome to one and all. We're so glad to have you. I want to begin by noting that our unity candle is lit at the front of our church, something we do here when one of our members has passed away during the week. And with sadness, I inform you that longtime church member Linda Hodges passed away two nights ago in her sleep. Linda, incredibly wonderful person, very kind-hearted, good-hearted, lots of fun to be around, who's been ill for quite some time. So Larry is doing okay. I talked with him yesterday and asked how he was doing, and he said, well, Linda's spirit's probably out there floating around having fun somewhere, but right now she's still in bed. So I said, okay. So he's doing okay, and the family's working on putting together a memorial service, and we'll let you know when that's scheduled. But we're going to keep our candle lit, as is our custom during the service. Throughout the service today is in honor of her light in her life. So also want to let you know that today is the final day of our art cell in the Friendship Hall. You can still bid on some of the art that's on the wall back there. It's going to end at 12:45 today, so shortly after our service. So we appreciate all the generosity folks have already given to help this fundraiser for the church. All the proceeds do go to the church, and I also want to thank the team that has put this together and made it happen. So thank you, everyone who's participated in that. Oh, I should mention I have a necktie on today. It's cute, thank you. So the first Sunday I spoke at this church, is the minister I had a necktie on. And I looked out at the audience, and there wasn't anybody with a necktie on. So I said, well, I can tell right now I don't need this, and took it off, to which there were uproarious applause. So I don't wear neckties very often, but this is a very special necktie because Richey and her girls, her wonderful daughters, gave this to me for Christmas. It's a Grinch. If you can't tell, it's little Grinch faces on it. And last week, Eva came to me and said, "We got you a Christmas present." She said, "It's a Grinch bow tie." And Richey says, "No, you're not supposed to tell him, you know." And I said, "Well, don't tell me what it looks like, so I'll be surprised." So anyway, Richey, they brought it today, and I didn't have it on. I didn't know it was by my door. And Eva came and said, "Where's your tie?" I said, "Well, I haven't gotten it yet." "Well, Mama gave it to you." So I went and I put it on. So I'm looking forward to them coming out after service and seeing me in this beautiful tie. So yes, thank you. It's just absolutely precious. So the other thing I would say is that I've got a little bit of a cold. You can probably tell. It's the tail end of it. So I don't think I'm contagious anymore, but I'm not going to get near anybody today, so I'm just going to hang up here after the service and let you guys shake hands with others. Okay? And then, I don't want to take too much time to talk about it, but I know yesterday seemed like another momentous day during the Trump era, which has now been, I think, since about 2014, whenever he announced he was going to run for office the first time. And it's just every day since then. This guy's the headline grabber on everything. And the situation in Venezuela is feels very, very disturbing, for perhaps primarily because that is not something as a country that we do or should do. I mean, I agree that the so-called president of Venezuela, who maintained his position after being elected out of office, is not a savory character and should not be rightfully respected as the leader of another country. But this was highly unusual, and it leaves us all wondering, what in the heck do you mean? We're running the country, the U.S. is running the country, and we're going to send American oil industry in to take over their oil? I mean, it's craziness. It makes no sense how that's even going to happen, let alone what's next. So the only reason I'm saying it is, I don't have any brilliant words of wisdom to deal with this. I just want to acknowledge that it's just one more bit of craziness to add extraordinary anxiety to our lives and to continue to cause upheaval and disruption in what is already a very volatile world. So I want to acknowledge the anxiety that we're under, that the world is under, that we're under as individuals, and at least to be able to say that we're in it together, whatever comes next. Particularly as a congregation, as a local community, we're not alone. And by acknowledging that anxiety and that confusion up front, I think at least helps us feel less alone. So that's it. I wish I had answers that would make it feel sane or put it in some frame that, okay, now I feel better, but we can't do that. So I think it is a good segue into greeting one another as a further symbol of us not being alone in the world. So please take some time this morning. I met you when you were about that. Hey, I got a little bit of a cold. Don't get too close. Thank you. Happy New Year to you. I so appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's on the tail end. Yeah, I feel better today than I have all week. So, yeah, thank you. I owe you one. Okay, more opportunity as always to visit with one another following our service during our social hour. But we are going to move forward now by lighting our chalice, the symbol of our unity and our solidarity, of our openness and our inclusion, of our community and our individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world and a beacon of hope to those in need. And may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost, and cast a healthy shadow of doubt wherever it's been found.
Carl Rogers was a formative figure in the humanistic psychology movement in the 20th century. He believed it was an egregious error to believe the only path to personal change required harsh self-criticism, that we must reject who we are to become someone different. Instead, Rogers taught that although it is a curious paradox, when we accept ourselves just as we are, then we can change. In other words, genuine transformation requires accepting current reality completely. When we stop fighting against what is, we create the space for organic growth. The energy previously spent in denial and resistance becomes available for actual change.
Okay, let's stand again, please, and sing together.
Comfort me,
All right, we're going to now kindle our candles of care for those who are most on our hearts and minds this morning. And I let those who were here last week know that the retired minister of our partnership church in Felșaracos, Romania, Joseph Kotets, and his wife Reka, their daughter Attila, was hospitalized with cancer. She passed away this week. She is Reka's daughter and Joseph's stepdaughter. She was diagnosed not too long ago, so it went very quickly, and I know that their entire family is grieving her loss at this time, so please keep them in your hearts and thoughts. Also want to, as we have been, kindle a candle for the many people around the world that are suffering from chaos and war and violence, be the people in Venezuela, the people in Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Palestine, Darfur, Sudan, all those places we've been naming, as well as, of course, the immigrants in our own country who live in fear at this time. A lot of candles to light this time in the world. So we'll take the usual moment of silence on behalf of those you might be thinking of, and as always, you're welcome to name them aloud if you'd like. Those named aloud and those embraced in our silence, and all those who are suffering in our world at this hour, we hold in our community with compassion. And we now gratefully give and receive this morning's offering, which helps sustain this community and our mission to the larger world.
I'd like to introduce the song I'm going to sing by saying a word about Nelson Mandela, who spent his whole life getting the two side, black and white, together in South Africa, and was successful eventually. He had to spend 27 years of his life in prison, but he finally, when he got out, he was the first black president of South Africa, and a very, very good man. And this is a song that you can sing, you can see it on YouTube with Miriam Makeba and Nina Simone, and it's called, the English is, "Hush Nation, our God will protect us. Freedom, freedom, our God will protect us." I think it was pretty appropriate for what we're going through right now, but here we go. Chulasi's way, Ungabo Kala, ooh, Jehovah. What goes up and Gomela in Kululeko, in Kulule, oh Jehovah, what goes up and Gomela. I see my light come shining from the west unto the east. Any day now They say every man needs protection. They say every man must fall. And so I swear I'll see my reflection somewhere far outside these walls. Should I see his way? Ongabo Kala, O Jehovah, Wako Wazukan Gobela, and Kululeko, and Kulule. O Jehovah, Wako Wazukan Gobela. I see my light come shining from the west unto the east. Any day now, anyway now, I shall be released. What good listeners you are, boy.
Thank you so much. It's beautiful. It is time for all ages. Anybody who would like to come forward for that, you're welcome to. Yeah, hi. Good to see you guys. As always, I brought a little help, so bear with me. Oh my goodness, this is a person who hasn't been here for a while, so some of you may not have met. Yes, this is my friend. This is, how are you? This is Professor Marty Pants. Oh, that's Pants with a Z. Yes, I was going to say that. Pants with a Z. Pants with a Z is actually the name. So that's good because as I tell all my students, if you want an A from Tants, you better give a Z to Tants. Okay, will you get a Z from us, Mr. Pants with a Z? It's been a while since you visited us, so for those who don't know, Professor Pants with a Z is the world's most preeminent discoverologist. Professor, would you please remind us what a discoverologist is? Yes, a discoverologist is a ditetal anthropomorph. He means he's a human being. That's what I just said. Okay, all right. Go ahead, and please continue. A ditetal anthropomorph that uses protoplasmic endowments and ocular faculties, uses his hands in his eyes. Would you please stop repeating everything I say? I'll do my best. Sorry. As I was saying, a discoverologist is a ditetal anthropomorph that uses, what do I use? I have to look. Hang on. Yes. Protoplasmic endowments and ocular faculties to ascertain phenomenon. He's a human being who uses his hands and eyes to discover things. That's what a discoverologist is. That's what I said. I know you did. Okay. Anyway, it's wonderful to have you. Thanks for reminding us what it is you do in no uncertain terms. What have you discovered lately? Well, I'm glad you asked. Why is that? Because I have recently made my greatest discovery ever. Well, that's very exciting. What have you discovered? Time travel. Time travel. That's amazing. Indeed it is. In fact, today I'm coming to you from the distant past. From the distant past, yes, I traveled here from 1 year ago in 1 minute. You travel an entire year in 1 minute? That's extraordinary. How did you achieve this tremendous accomplishment? Well, you see, on New Year's Eve, I stayed awake until just 1 minute before midnight. And then I began counting to 60. And the second I was done, I had traveled from 2025 into 2026. Okay, on New Year's Eve, huh? Well, that's pretty extraordinary. So you stayed awake to see the New Year arrive, did you? Indeed, I did, and that makes me a time traveler. Well, Dr. Pans with a Z, I don't want to disappoint you, but there's lots of people who stayed awake until midnight on New Year's Eve to see the arrival of 2026. Yes, and I discovered it. Well, I understand, but you're not the only person to discover it. Well, I didn't say I am, but it was a new discovery to me, and that makes me a time traveler. Well, okay. And that, I think, is what we love about you, Professor Pans with a Z. You love discovering new things every day, which keeps your heart young no matter how old you are. And maybe discovering new things, even if they're only new to you, is your fountain of youth. Yes, and I've discovered it. Yes, you did, and we're glad you did. So Happy New Year to you, Professor Pans. That's Pans with a Z. Yes, Professor Pans with a Z, Happy New Year to you, and thank you for using your protoplasmic endowments and ocular faculties to come visit us all the way from 2025 into the new year 2026. My pleasure. But I need to get going. I'm going to use my time-traveling skills this evening. I'm going to travel from Sunday to Monday. Oh, very... You've got to. Can you go back in time? You don't want to go to school? Oh no. Professor Marty Pans with a Z, are you only able to travel forward? Can you travel back so that we can have a longer weekend? I'm working on it. Okay. Yes, Olive. What's your question? You heard a song in your mom's car?
Yeah, it was about you and your kids seeing a buffalo.
It was about me and my kids seeing a buffalo. Yes, I know that song. Well, thank you for listening to my music in your car. That is so nice of you. Yes, and I discovered it.
For the meditation today, words from Susie Kasim from her book, Rise Up and Salute the Sun. Your mind can be your enemy or friend. If you always follow your heart, your mind will feel neglected. If you follow only your mind, your heart will never forgive you. Never ignore your conscience, yet always be conscious of reason. Make your heart and mind friends, and you will have peace of mind throughout life's seasons.
This song is really Pete Seeger's song from the funny words that he put into This Land Is Your Land, I believe was a Woody Guthrie song. But this song, he messed with it a little bit, and I liked that so much I thought I'd share it with you this morning. First of all is the refrain. If you can bear to sing This Land Is Your Land, the way things are going. This land is my land, from California to New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. Oh, Pete Seeger was not only a great spreader of music everywhere. When I lived in Canada, he even came up there. I think he had to. It was during the McCarthy hearing. As I was walking, I saw a sign there, and the sign said, private property. But on the other side, it didn't say nothing. Well, that side was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. Sing it. From California to New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. Very good. One bright sunny morning, this is Pete again, in the shadow of a steeple by the welfare office, I saw my people. They stood there hungry. I stood there wondering if this land still made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the this land was made for you and me. Nobody living can ever stop me when I go walking that freedom highway. Nobody living can make me turn back. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is your land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You sound so good.
Thank you, Pam, for that piece of history that remains so present for us today. As we struggle to be one world, one people with equal rights upon it. So I recently, just a couple of days ago, in fact, caught a TED Talk by impact investor Tom Chi, ultimately about how robots are being used to restore nature. But he begins by describing what he calls a profound paradox, that almost everyone responds positively when asked how they feel about nature. Nature is inspiring. Nature is the most beautiful thing there is that exists, they say. They'll put it as a backdrop on their desktop and their phones, G says. Every single person you ask, you're going to get a positive response. And therein lies the paradox, he says. How did a group of individuals that love nature somehow create a civilization and industrial economy that is effectively a planetary assault on nature? Chi's answer is that we've all adopted the belief that economic wins are traded off against ecology. And if you care about the ecology, he says, and want to make that better, unfortunately, you're going to have to trade off economic wins. So I would invite you to listen to Tom Chi's TED Talk if you want to learn more about why he might think robots are part of that solution. But I mention it here because this paradox is the same one that I want to explore today, although more broadly than he does. For humanity's highest aspirations have always been to create a world of peace, and justice, and equality, and care, and compassion, and kindness, and respect for others. These aspirations are at the core of all our major religions, going back hundreds, even thousands of years. So why haven't we been able to live up to them? Why are so many in our modern world still suffering from unnecessary war, from violence, from discrimination, from poverty, hunger, homelessness, and so forth? Why, if we all know what kind of world we want, don't we have it? Why, if we all know deep down what it means to be good, aren't we? Socrates once said that no person knowingly does evil. And if we tweak this statement just a little with psychology, we might instead say, no person consciously does evil. In other words, we convince ourselves that we're doing good, even when we aren't. We achieve this by unconsciously justifying our bad behavior, by projecting our own evil onto those we harm and exploit, convincing ourselves that they deserve it, and by reserving good only for those like us whom we believe do deserve it precisely because they are good like us. And sometimes by supporting other worthy causes to compensate for our wrongdoing elsewhere. When we knowingly do evil, it's difficult as social beings to face others, let alone to look at ourselves in the mirror. Yet the frequent conflict between self-interest and the welfare of others is genuine conflict, including our economic welfare versus the welfare of the environment, as Chi points out. And this conflict is one that we ought to acknowledge and address, not deny. For it's okay, and it is necessary to look out for our own interests, to love ourselves, if you will. Some would say that it is not possible to love others if we don't. And this is why the opposite situation often arises, when we always or only choose the welfare of others over our own interest. We justify permitting their bad behavior toward ourselves and their exploitation of ourselves as a demonstration somehow of our selflessness and our love, to avoid consciously acknowledging our fear, our weakness, our shame, and our own value as a person who deserves better. Our own interests are often, though not always, in competition with the interest of others. Yet because few, except for the most socio and psychopathic among us, knowingly and consciously engage in evil, Many of us deal with such conflict unconsciously. And this allows us to maintain the delusion that we are good persons, living up to the moral ideals that humans have uplifted for centuries, like compassion and care and kindness and justice and equality, and so on. Yet this unconscious approach to dealing with such conflict between our self-interest and the interest of others, between being selfless or selfish, between being thoughtful or thoughtless, is no solution, because it allows us to convince ourselves that we are good people and that persistent evil exists in the world. Let's call evil, suffering, injustice, because that's what I mean by it, are caused by all the bad people out there who don't just so happen to not share our interest, resulting in a world where our ancient and highest human aspirations cannot be wholly achieved. If we could just get rid of all of those evildoers out there who aren't like us, we imagine, what a wonderful world it would be. Let's consider abortion, for example. Most people agree that abortion, although necessary at times, is not a good means of birth control. Hence, to reduce the number of abortions performed, one side of this divisive issue has concentrated on providing family planning, sex education, and contraception. And I won't go into all the research impacting this approach, or I should say indicating this approach reduces the number of abortions with tremendous success. Advocates of this approach are called pro-choice, but they are more pro-life than anyone. Their approach is pro-life because it understands human welfare is far more than just being born, and that by providing women's health, education, contraception, and by reducing unwanted pregnancies, they are actually creating a greater quality of life on this planet. That's pro-life. Those who call themselves pro-life, however, by and large, demonstrate little concern for the quality of life, by which I mean the welfare of those who have been born. Their heavy-handed solution to abortion is to make it completely illegal and to charge anyone involved in its practice with murder. These anti-abortion advocates bear no responsibility for human welfare in the process, including those whose births they have insisted must happen. They advocate for unwanted embryos, but do nothing for all the unwanted people suffering hate and injustice in the world, including here in our own country. The political party that has for decades used abortion as a wedge issue to obtain power, and that has finally succeeded in outlawing abortion in many U.S. states, is the same party that has routinely strived to eliminate any government funding for social services and programs, and for years has blocked any effort to make medical care more affordable and available to anyone, including for infants before and after they're born. It resists and resents adequately funding public education for children. It resists and resents giving them food assistance. It resists and resents funding daycare programs for those not yet old enough to go to school. And let's not talk about resisting and resenting gun control laws that protect those who are at school. And for those who are grown, it resists and resents welfare programs for anyone. Doesn't address the housing crisis, or serious life-threatening crises like climate change. And those pro-life advocates who support these regimes are mute when the man they have helped elect makes racist statements about entire groups of unwanted born people. and initiates policies that sweeps them off of our streets, locking them away in or sending them away to hellish circumstances without due process. They don't talk about how sacred life is when their government bombs fishing boats, giving them kill them all orders without producing 1 ounce of evidence that those aboard were even involved in crimes, not that extrajudicial killings are justified even if they were. Without descending deeper into this dark line of reasoning, we begin to see why, though we all want to be good, or at least to see ourselves as good, there's still so much cruelty and injustice in the world. In the case of abortion, those who want to simply make it illegal, which places the moral responsibility on others, not themselves, deceive themselves into thinking that they are the moral heroes of this story, the lovers of life, who have pointed their fingers at all those evildoers in the world. Yet they have done nothing. They have risked nothing to make the world better for others by helping to improve their lives. Many of them use Christianity to help justify their position, even though their scriptures say nothing about abortion. And certainly doesn't elevate life above all other concerns. It doesn't make an idol of life. Jesus is reported to said, "I came that they may have life and have it abundantly." Or as the New Living Translation puts it, "My purpose is to give them a rich and satisfying life." This was written in the Gospel of John in the 2nd century CE, which means Jesus probably never said anything like it. But the author of John, probably not his name, is the narrator who, more than anyone else, suggests that love is what was most central to Jesus' teachings and theology. God is love. 1 John 4:8 tells us, if God so loved us, then we also should love one another. It also admits no one has ever seen God, but if we would love one another, God abides in us, and his love is perfected in us. That's how we know if we're good, at least according to this particular Christian author, by incarnating our most cherished beliefs through our care and welfare of others. It's not about simply getting pregnant, staying pregnant, and giving birth, but helping everyone who has been born to have abundant, satisfying lives. It's not about making an idol of life. There are many things far more important in God's eyes than life, at least according to the writer of John, who reports Jesus having said, "Greater love have no one than this, than to lay down his life for his friends, for others." Again, it's unlikely Jesus ever truly spoke these words, but at the very least, the author of John believed this to be a statement representative of his religion. That there are many matters far more important than just being born and staying alive. Let's consider, for example, during last Sunday's another example, I should say, during last Sunday's Q&A period, the rise of white Christian nationalism was brought up. And just this past week, some of you may have heard it, I heard a CNN report about Christian white nationalism, about the white nationalist minister, Doug Wilson in particular, who is based just down the road in Moscow, Idaho. I don't know how many of you might have heard that. But with over 150 congregations as part of his growing movement and inroads to the White House through Pete Hegseth, his influence ought to be concerning. Although Wilson denies being a white nationalist, he strongly advocates for a merger of church and state, for eliminating a woman's right to vote, for criminalizing homosexuality, again, and has spoken positively about some forms of slavery. As the saying goes, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Here again, we see an individual and his movement believing, at least proclaiming, that they are good people, even though they are advocating for inequality and justice and the suppression of those they disagree with, who do not think and look and act like themselves. Yet their selfish desire to oppress and to exploit others is unconsciously suppressed under the guise of religion. The notion that they are doing God's work, or as Wilson says in that report, because that's what it says in the Bible. I'm good because I'm doing what it says in the Bible. Examples like these enable us to resolve Chi's quandary over how a world of nature lovers at once could be a world of environmental destruction. It also helps us understand my broader question regarding how, if we all want so desperately to be good, we continue treating others so horribly. The answer is that too many of us have unconsciously fooled ourselves into believing what we are doing is good when it's not. If you don't like the answer that the measuring stick gives you, change the measuring stick. If good behavior is, as the world religions agree, as well as other ethical systems, measured by how much peace, justice, equality, care, compassion, and kindness for others that we create, then we cannot prioritize our needs and desires at the expense of others. That is an inconvenient truth. Doing the right thing often costs us something. So rather than live with it, let's just find a new measuring standards that cost everyone but ourselves. We've outlawed abortion. Yay! What great people we are. What good people we are. Meanwhile, zip-tie the hands of those immigrant children over there before pulling them away from their families and tossing them into a cage with no more than an aluminum foil blanket to stay warm under. That's pro-life. That's pro-life. Today, most people in the world still claim to believe in at least one of those ancient religions that emerged beginning almost 3,000 years ago. Confucianism and Taoism in China, Hinduism and Buddhism in India, monotheism in Israel, philosophical rationalism in Greece, and later rabbinic Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all of which were originally born in response, all of them. That's called the axial age. There was stuff going on in the world that way that caused us to have a transformation in religion around the world. All of them were born in response to social injustice and oppression. That's the purpose of those religions, to address such cruelties. Yet along the way, in order to bypass the personal sacrifices these religions demand of us in our relations to others, we made them about something else. Dead words in chiseled stone, heartless doctrines, unyielding creeds, purity codes, obeying your masters, going to church, saying your prayers at night, or any other pious acts meant to absolve us from devoting ourselves to the true heart of religion, born not of gods, but of the goodness in mankind. In our universal longing for peace and justice and kindness for ourselves, from us, and from one another. So questions like those that Tom Chi and I are asking have been around a very long time. Why, if we love nature, do we destroy it? Why, if we want peace, do we make war? Why, if we long for a world of peace and compassion and justice and kindness, is it still so hostile, careless, unfair, and cruel? There are a profound couple of verses in the Hebrew Scriptures that were written nearly, 2,600 years ago, 600 BCE. They say, I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. I will remove your heart of stone, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes and to carefully observe my ordinances. These verses from Ezekiel tell us there is something far more important to follow than those cherished commandments chiseled in stone. Something more important than following our own made-up rules to the letter of the law, just so that we can feel good about ourselves while behaving contemptibly towards others. I will remove your heart of stone, and I will give you a heart of flesh. It's not what is written on a rock outside of you, but something within you that you already know that ought to be your guide. That's what Ezekiel means by a heart of flesh, a human heart. And the heart of flesh follows a different law, not one birthed by divine command, but that comes already packed within each of us the moment we're born, knowing the difference between pain and pleasure. To be good people only requires us to recognize the humanity of others, understanding that they experience the same pains and pleasures that we do. The only rule we need to follow is the universal golden rule. Don't do to others what you don't want done to yourself. At least that's how it's been stated in most cultures, as a prohibition against harming others in ways that we would not wish to be harmed. Yet Jesus, as with many such sayings, flipped it. He flipped it into a prescription that we ought to intentionally do for others what we want done for ourselves. This is to say that we have a moral obligation to attend to the welfare of others. We don't simply respond to their suffering. We proactively establish systems that prevent their suffering to begin with. All those systems the U.S. government right now is getting rid of. I call this the law of the flesh because it's not something external to us like stone tablets, church doctrines, written laws, municipal codes, etc. It's simply following our hearts by creating the world that we've always longed for, by living with others in the ways that we want them to live with us, with peace and justice, equality, care, compassion, kindness, respect. This is in contrast to the misguided piety of people like Doug Wilson, who hide behind their cold interpretation of the written word to justify taking from others what they want for themselves. Wilson wants to turn back the clock on gay rights because that's what the Bible says. While I question his interpretation of the very few verses available to potentially justify that claim, I'll cite one that I'm guessing he's not considered, also from Ezekiel, the prophet who wishes to remove our legalistic, pious hearts of stone to make room for our hearts of flesh, moved by compassion and the caring inner spirit. Wilson, like many, conveniently interprets the final destruction, or I should say the fictional destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah as punishment for some of its citizens wishing to brutalize and rape the strangers among them. He uses this story to justify his dislike of gay couples who engage in consensual, mutual loving relationships. How could they twist that story in this way? Yet Ezekiel says, "Now this is the sin of Sodom. She and her daughters were arrogant, overfed, and unconcerned. They did not help the poor and needy." Yeah. That was the city's evil, an unwillingness to care for one another, at least if you believe the Bible. So, dear Mr. Wilson, if by some chance you're listening, the Bible also says that animals with paws are an abomination. But I don't see anybody persecuting dog and cat lovers in the name of Christ. Not in the way you advocate discriminating against your fellow human beings. So here's another verse from your holy book that you don't seem to be aware of. "The Lord has told you, O man, what is good, and what the Lord requires of you, only this, to do what is right, to show mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." Sadly, those who are not committed to creating this ever-flowing stream of justice and kindness and love, those who turn to letters chiseled, etched, or ink-stained on idolatrized documents, but do not have this heart of flesh, do not abide with what we all come into this world understanding, the difference between pain and pleasure, have allowed their hearts to harden. They've developed hearts of stone, a tragic condition exemplified in another story from the Hebrew Scriptures, the one about the Egyptian Pharaoh who, no matter how terrible things became for his entire kingdom, refuses to release the Israelites from bondage, from slavery. First came water contaminated with blood. That's quite a metaphor. Followed by an onslaught of frogs, swarms of flies, sick and dying livestock, a breakout of boils, destructive storms, locust darkness, leading to the deaths of some of their own children. Still, after each calamity, even after promising to finally free them, the Scripture says the heart of the Pharaoh was hardened, and he would not let the Israelites go. Perhaps that's the problem with our world today. There are still too many hard hearts to crack for the Grinch lovers. Too many who don't yet understand that being good is not a matter of believing what is right or defending the right rules, but of how gently and justly we treat one another. When we replace our false hearts of stone with human hearts of flesh, when we choose kindness over cruelty and mercy over judgment, and care over contempt, we become the good people that we already believe ourselves to be. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, let's stand and sing. Building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free.
The closing words are from Thomas More from his book, Care of the Soul. As the poets and painters of centuries have tried to tell us, art is not about the expression of talent or the making of pretty things. It is about the preservation and containment of soul. It is about arresting life and making it available for contemplation. Art captures the eternal in the everyday, and it is the eternal that feeds soul, the whole world in a grain of sand. Amen. Blessed be. Salam alaikum and shalom.